You want to talk about this topic on the ads for PlayStation 5?
Yeah. So recently there was a well. I- I'll say what it was, what it's claimed to be, but recently, uh, users of the PS5 pointed out that the news that the games on their homepage were displaying promotional material and news about games that they already own in their library, and which are essentially ads for the game. So instead of the usual art style or backdrops that are normally there, and users were pointing this out, and it definitely spread like wildfire on the internet. And eventually, Sony came back and said that this was the result of a tech error that was the reason for these ads on the dashboard. And since then, Sony has come back and fixed it, and things are now better. But it definitely is odd that this happened in the first place. As to why they did it. And additionally, Sony has put out a PS5 system update that has a new feature called Welcome Hub, which is a personalized space with customizable widgets and backgrounds. Which is I'm not certain if this is the same thing as how they had with themes in previous PlayStation consoles, but this is something that they've had. But yeah, this definitely was an interesting scenario. Um, did you want to start off with your opinions?
All right. Well, I'm going to say right now, this was not a glitch. This was intentional. This was 100% intentional. They did this on purpose because they were testing the waters. And as soon as they got backlash, they pulled it back. This is going to happen. This is going to be a normal thing, but they're going to try and ease you into it. So, if you are a PS5 user currently, whether or not you actually experience this, which most likely if you played your PS5 in the past week, you probably experienced it. Some people don't consider them all that intrusive. Some people would defend it regardless because they're fanboys. Um, but the reality is that this was intentional. They did this on purpose. This wasn't a glitch. This was them putting it out there to try and see if they could get away with it. And really, I think that it was not necessarily that they got a bunch of backlash, because it doesn't seem like they really did necessarily get a lot, other than from people who get outraged about stuff anyway. But most people probably weren't getting all that outraged about it. It's just more like, I think that maybe if it was a quote unquote glitch, it was a glitch in that they did it too early, that they did it earlier than they planned to. Now they're probably going to have to pull it back for a little bit longer than they may have originally planned. But I imagine that probably what they're going to end up doing is they will release this. Whether they just do it quietly and do it in the next system update, oh, it's in the system, it's in the notes for the system update, or they will try to market it to make it seem like it's a good thing, that they're including all these advertisements on your homepage. And you know that people are going to defend it, and people are going to be totally fine with it. Now, I do want to note something. Apart from the fact, I mean, of course, obviously, I think it's pretty egregious. It's just like, it's right in your face. It's like there's no reason why they need to do that. There's just zero reason at all. It's one thing if you go to the PlayStation Store and you have ads and all that, like, okay, that's fine. You go to a Sony website, you have ads, whatever. But doing this on the home screen of your game console, especially when it's stuff that is, in some cases, not even up to date. Like they have, when you have Spider-Man 2 highlighted, it was showing coming soon for the Across the Spider-Verse movie, which is already, I think it was like coming soon to theaters, and it's been out in theaters. It's already out on Blu-ray and Blu-ray, DVD, 4K, all that. It has been for quite a while. And just advertising a game that you literally have highlighted or advertising paid DLC, things like that. I think that they are going to promote this. And going back, what I was meaning to say before I got myself sidetracked is that Xbox has already done stuff like this. And I mean, I don't know when they started doing this. I think it was quite a while back. And I didn't hear about it until recently. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty egregious too. In fact, I think it's actually worse on Xbox from what I've heard. Because it's like just advertising random stuff. It's like not even in any way connected to those games. Like at least the stuff that the PlayStation was displaying was connected to those games. But still, I mean, ads for this, they're really pushing that envelope as much as they can after they're already charging you an arm and a leg for all this stuff. Plus paying for online services. Plus, what they're doing with the PS5 Pro, which we've talked about that plenty as it is. It's ridiculous, and I mean, I don't think this is necessarily as bad. Well, I don't know. It's hard to say how bad it is because I think that you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile, and it's just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. And I mean, it's that frog, in a boiling pot of water starts out just a little bit at a time, and after a while, it's boiling and you're gone. I mean, not that you're going to die from PlayStation 5 ads, but I don't know. I don't think any company should be doing this. That is one area where I have to say I appreciate Nintendo. Is that the only time that you see any sort of ads on Nintendo, on the Switch, when you first turn on your system, like before, when you're just in like the screen before, like the initial startup screen before you actually go to your game or go to the home screen or anything like that, it'll have news on the side. Sometimes part of that will include advertisements for games that are new or that sort of thing. That's fine because it's not obtrusive. I mean, it's something that you can get past in literally a second. You don't have to deal with any time, like an ad playing or anything like that. And when you're on the home screen, you got nothing. You just got the game icons, and that's it. Even though I do miss themes. Maybe they'll do that with Switch 2. Maybe they'll finally have themes again. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything else to say about this. I feel like I'm just going to keep repeating myself, so take it away.
Alright, so first off, I thought of the perfect way for them to get away with this. Is if they bring it back, upcharge you for $10 for it as an upgrade, and say it's a remaster. That's how they can get away with this. I think that, but I think that this is definitely, I agree that this is not a glitch, because how do you have ads show up as a glitch on the home page?
Yeah,
it's too out of place for it to just be a random glitch. And I think the worst part about this is for some games where it's advertising for like I said, the games that you already own, you're getting advertisements for, or getting like being shown all the different praises that a game's getting, which I saw, who was it? It was, I can't remember if this was in like okay, it's not the article, but I think it was something that was shown in one of the Discord servers I'm in. Someone said that a reviewer for one of the games, I can't remember which game it was, I think it might have been Astrobot, thought about how weird it was to see his praise for Astrobot on the PS5 game. It's like, I already praised this game, I'm seeing it again on my TV because of an ad. There's definitely no excuse for this. And I mean, I did not know about Xbox because I just don't play Xbox. Never played Xbox. Probably never will play Xbox, but I'm not surprised that they did it, considering the fact that the Windows start menu nowadays is just riddled with ads. Like, granted, I removed all of mine, but if you go into a fresh install of Windows, you have Microsoft Store and you've got Candy Crush. That's when I see like constantly up there and stuff like that, and all these other types of stuff right there in the home menu. And it's like, yeah, I believe that Microsoft would also do that for Xbox, and it definitely sucks. And I definitely would call them out for that as well, because you shouldn't be getting ads for a video game console. Like, it's a device that's meant solely to play games. I mean, sure, now with the way consoles are, you can do other stuff besides just play games on them, but the primary reason for a console is the games. So something that you should theoretically, just have as a separate device that does this one thing is now just getting flooded with advertisements for stuff. And I find that completely intrusive and unacceptable, regardless of the platform. And I agree that, ironically enough, Nintendo's bare bones system settings is what keeps it from being riddled with ads. It definitely doesn't have to be that way, considering the fact that the 3DS was great because you had those themes, and you didn't have any ads for that as well. And I mean, man, I remember setting up the Samus Returns as my theme for 3DS, because why not? But yeah, this is just a complete mess that they should not have done. I agree that they probably will reintroduce this sometime down the road. Don't know when, but it definitely could come. But yeah, definitely will come. But they still should probably just do that upcharge of $10 and call it the remaster. Tech error remaster for the PS5. And also has, the PS5 Pro features as well, so now you can get it at 60 FPS 4K. Ooh.
But not guaranteed 60 FPS. And it's actually upscaled from 960p. Yeah, oh my goodness. It is ridiculous. And especially when you consider the fact that if they start pushing this, there's not going to be any way to keep it from showing up. At least on PC, when you're in situations where you're stuck, when we have those annoying ads like all the Windows ones you mentioned with the fresh install of Windows, you can get rid of those pretty easily.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a way to do it on console. Now, maybe if there's enough backlash, that could end up being something that they enable people to disable. But I just imagine that it's probably not going to be the case, and then people are going to just have to deal with it. And many people will defend it. So, yeah.